Oh. This is Kal Kat, the Kal Katster. And no, there's no mic or anything. Grab my ear. Where I'm rendering some video movies here at the video library and watching, and one of them didn't load, and we're not going to use this one on the net anyway. So I was watching The Long Halloween, Part 2, the second movie in the Long Halloween duology, two of them. Some elements of this movie inspired Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy, and so some of it, a little bit. Scarecrow stuff did. The Harvey Dent stuff did too, but the Harvey Dent stuff was actually more or less was they introduced Two-Face in that. Was that Nolan? Or was that the guy before? The guy before. Yeah. Yeah, because Bane was in the Two-Face and the Joker, and maybe that was Nolan. Yeah. Or was that? Yeah. Yeah, that was that. Yeah, he was in there with the Joker. So him and the Joker. So yeah, it was a little bit like that. Yeah. Also, the weird controversy of the movie, of this this two-parter, is not there in the version that's on you play on the theater. It's supposed to be rated R. Doesn't need to be. I mean, yeah, there's violence and stuff in it, gunplay and stuff, but I would say PG-13. Once in a while, I throw an F-bomb, but if they cut it out, it'd be PG-13. It doesn't need it necessarily, the rated R, because there is no blowjob scene. There's kissing once in a while. There's no blowjob scene. It's really obvious who the bad guy is from the beginning of the story. And the lengths they go to switch back and forth between the good guy and the bad guy to try and hide the fact that, yeah, we know who the bad guy is, or gal is. This one throws a monkey wrench into it by having the Falcones and the other group at war and peace over whether the Waynes earlier had done dealings with them because they saved one of them from dying and years ago, and there's a little bit of the Wayne stuff. But the movie opens with Poison Ivy having captured Bruce Wayne and is doing all kinds of stuff to him under duress. No sex, though. They imply it, but no sex. Maybe that's what they were thinking of. But no, they didn't show any porn. There's no porn in this. They show her costume with the form-fitting costume, but no, there's nothing like that. That's not why it's R. It's R because there's drops some F-bombs in it. And said they show blood. And people getting maimed and killed. That's R. But yeah, we have a movie that's not it's as good as some of the live action ones. DC does much better with its animated movies than it does its regular ones. And yeah, this is probably the first one to be reviewing so far, Halloween Part 2, because it just came out, literally just came out. So, the minor spoilers for plot spoilers. I will not reveal who the bad guy is in this review, because I want you to see it. Yes, you'll be able to figure it out though. It's pretty obvious. We have Harvey Dent his slow descent into becoming Two-Face. We call that Joker and Two-Face from the Nolan ones. Yeah, same deal there. The Dark Knight. Batman Begins, Dark Knight, and Dark Knight Returns. So it was Dark Knight. Yeah. So this is a lot like The Long Halloween, and this is the comic book version. So it's like seeing a longer version of that. They mention They mention Valentine's Day and they mention Mother's Day. They mention Father's Day, but then they don't necessarily, because the bad guy is attacking on calendar dates, holidays. They call him Mr. Holiday, the bad guy. There's a sort of a character reminiscent of Hannibal Lecter, who is the calendar man, who is giving them tips because he's crazy, and that's kind of what Hannibal Lecter did. Solomon Grundy gets to do a Solomon Grundy poem thing with Two-Face at one point. That was pretty funny. I think I mentioned him in the last one. But yeah, the wife of the Harvey Dent has a secret past. Ooh, I don't want to give away too much though. There's also Selena Kyle has a different backstory in this one, where there's a relation going on in there. That is not as obvious, but that's just because they threw a curveball, and they were like, well, yeah, she's more like the Huntress than she's like Catwoman, which is very similar to the third Nolan movie. I'm surprised Bane doesn't show up in here somewhere. Yeah, yeah, because the Catwoman in that was the Huntress, acting more like the Huntress in that one. In this one too. So yeah, they read the comic book, Long Halloween. I keep calling it Long Dark Halloween. It's just Long Halloween. It wasn't a Miller one. It was the other dude. Yeah, it was a graphic novel, similar to that, but different. I think it was later, after Shadow of the Bat and the Young Dark Knight stuff. It was after that. So. Whereas Batman Dark Knight Returns, the original comic books goes back to the 80s. Dark Knight Returns and Batman v Superman, the original comic books were the late 80s. And yeah, that's different. So it was Watchmen. Watchmen was also the late 80s. So when Watchmen aired, it was concurrent with what was going on. So it wasn't like it was the distant past alternate universe. It's not, no, it was actually supposed to be. This movie has this film noir thing going on. Just the cars and vehicles and the costumes and their actions. They have, oddly enough, Chicago accents. Some of them have New York accents. It's kind of odd. There's also the Lisa Fatte's song in there. Happy Birthday to You in Italian. Felicidade. Celebration to you, basically. At which point during one of the I tended to do when we do the birthday song, I tend to do that like a well, rah 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 like an opera. But my sister thinks that it's Klingon. I said, "Oh, it's Klingon. Let's go to Klingon." Mom's all, "Nah, it's Italian." Just see it in Italian. Oh, it sounds like Klingon though. If you go blah 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 blah, it's not. Well, maybe Italians were Klingons. Anyways. Does that make the Irish Falcons? Maybe. Oh, is the other way around? I think it would be. If Romans were... Anyway, so... Yeah, you have your strange sort of... It's an odd movie. Yeah, the rating, it's just... the animation gets a little odd at points in it, like they rushed some of it. They let like align the animation on them when they're moving around. It's sort of that faux 3D thing that they didn't do as well with on the Marvel What If. It's not as good on the Marvel What If, but on this one it's better because they look a little less uncanny. They look more cartoonish. I think that works better if they look more cartoonish. Because then you're like, okay, it's a little less uncanny valley. The character playing the Batman does a better job the second time around. The character playing the Joker doesn't have much to do. We get to see Mad Hatter, which is cool. So yeah, but I think that's Riddler. It's Mad Hatter. It's one of the other guys. Little dude. And Penguin has a cameo. And of course we have the Scarecrow, who does what he did in the Batman Nolan movies. Because they borrowed Long Halloween. Well, pretty much. But the part where it goes off the rails with the Long Halloween is when it does the Bane stuff and the back-breaking stuff. That's from the sequel. That's from a later series. And the Lazarus Pit series. And that was later on. Yeah. So, yeah. That was one of those episodes where they're like, oh, it was one of those like there was Death of Superman, Death of Robin, Breaking Batman's Back, or Death of Batman, or whatever. They did these things before to be shocking, so they get rebooted. And then the next series of writers would just go, oh, and that didn't really happen. Is it just me, or does Iron Man seem a lot like Ultraman? Anyway, they should team up. So yeah, the guys at Bat in the Sun, Ultraman versus Iron Man. That should happen. Anyway, yeah. So. And maybe there's a leprechaun dude. Yeah, so that was yeah, I keep going back to the same thing, saying that there's stuff in it that reminds me of other things. It's not yeah, it's not it was fine. It was good. It was better than some of the other DC movies. It was I don't know if it was better than the Snyder Cut or not. Probably better than the Snyder Cut. Because with this version of it, if you spread it over 90 minutes here and then 90 minutes there, you have 180 minutes of a movie that actually works, as opposed to the Snyder to Whedon cut, which is a different story entirely. So that one, yeah. Justice League. What they should do with the Justice League movie, they should let James Gunn to do so well as it was the Suicide Squad, the remake. They should let him do. Maybe Taika Waititi could help him, because he's good at that. He's good at the humor. Do a new Justice League movie, but just in the vein of the other one, the Justice League. In just just Justice League Unlimited or something, and just call it that. Do a new Justice League movie, but do it right. You're gonna have your main characters. You have Batman, Superman, Martian Manhunter, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, or Green Lantern, or both all together. They gotta fight some threat. Darkseid, I suggest. To get to Darkseid this time. But yeah, make it fun. That's what they should do. They should do okay, well, yeah, when Snyder Cut was a little off. But James Gunn's a friend of Snyder, so he could fix it, I think. Just make it fun. Make it, yeah, over the top and fun. Yeah, because it's Justice League. It got a Martian dude called Martian Manhunter in it. It's gonna be fun. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, they could easily redo that. Justice League. They could even get Gal Gadot to come back. Now, this new The Batman with the wolf dude from Twilight in it. But he's now in his 40s, so he's older, but still, he's trying to look like a brooding teenager, and it's sort of like seeing a mid-40s guy in the shopping mall. He's a total dorcas dude. I've seen this. I've probably been this. I've seen this. Yeah. Or the guy's like walking around the mall. I've never been this, but I've seen it. He's trying to impress his buddies that are also his age, but he's like an uber, socially awkward dude walking along and trying to impress, millennials in the mall. And it doesn't work. Because they don't get what he's doing, for one thing. So he'd be, making references to, that's what it seems like, that new Batman trailer. The Batman trailer. It seems like he's trying really, really hard to be 20 again. He's 40-something. And it doesn't work. You're not convinced. Yeah. Sort of like Luke Perry back in the day in 90210. The late Luke Perry. Who was it's like, I'm 26, but I'm acting like I'm in high school. I was like, no. That's why there's that line in Saved by the Bell, the college years. Dude walks down the hall and goes, what? 30 years old. What am I doing here? But yes, he looked familiar. Yes. Anyway, but yeah. So we have. It would have been funny if in Three Ninjas Kick Back, if we had Kal Kat run in and say, "I'm 16." No, that wouldn't have worked either. Because no, he's not. He was what? 30, 25, 26, 20-something? 20-something. 93, 90, would have been 22, 23. 1990 something. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it's funny when they got or even a middle-aged, even somebody my age, but more socially awkward, in the mall, and they're trying to be cool, and they're not. It's even funnier when they manage to reproduce and they have kids, and their kids are teenagers, and they're embarrassed at their dad going, "Oh, that's so cool! Oh, I'm so hip." It's like, no, dude, no. See, when the dad or the older uncle dude likes what the kids are into, it's not cool anymore. It's like going to the Vans shoe store, getting all excited about the skateboards and stuff. It's like, oh, and then the kid's like, fall on your ass. You can't skate. Oh. But yes, that's what the movie reminded me of, was the idea that the actors, that's going somewhere, that the actors were kind of acting like, and then the Batman reminded me of that from the trailer. As well as the Eternals movie kind of reminded me of that too. It's like, and that's Marvel, but it doesn't look very exciting. Looks like it's going to be a heady one, with talking and stuff, which is different. But I'm not sure if that. Yeah, they did that with the Dark World. I don't know if it's going to work so well. That was one of the lesser ones. They did that with Iron Man 3 too, except for the ending for 20 minutes. Yeah, so. Sure how well that actually works. It's interesting. The Batman, Twilight. Oh. I don't know that Kirsten Stewart has tried to get away from being typecast as that Tsumi character, and did that movie called she was the Bella in Twilight. She did that movie called American Ultra, which they really didn't hype correctly. They made it look like an ad for cigarettes, because Ultras are cigarettes. Instead of a spy caper, they should have marketed it as that. They should have said, okay, this is like a Demolition Man type of thing. This is a spy caper. Not Demolition Man so much as Demolition Man meets Strange Days. No, they should have marketed it as that and said, okay, this guy doesn't. He gets like a memory loss type of thing. Jason Bourne with slackers, basically. They should have marketed it as that and said, okay, this movie is about this. It should have been called like American Slacker Spy or something. Then it would have been a better title. Then people would have seen it, because it's not a bad movie. It's just if you're gonna make your movie about this guy with amnesia that discovers that he's a spy, put that in the trailer. That'll help it. You kind of got to go there. You kind of got to explain, okay, this guy's going to try to figure things out. That's your trailer. That's your hook. Why is things going nuts around him? Is he crazy? Is he like a beautiful mind type of thing? Is he like doing this or that? Or why is he doing it crazy? Which actually kind of ties back to the movie, where we have the introduction of Two-Face in the Batman movie, and we have him sort of going nuts and kind of distracting you from who the actual killer is, because clearly that's what's called a red herring. Clearly Two-Face is the red herring from the beginning. It's obviously not going to be him, because that's too freaking obvious. It's going to be the red herring there. You have a mystery noir story, and you have your basic plots of a noir story. This is similar in sci-fi as well. You have it's always the first person you think. It's always the second person you think. Butler did it, or whatever, or it's not the butler, but that kind of thing. Man versus nature, man versus himself, man versus gods, just gods or something ethereal and mysterious, and man versus his identity goes with that. So yeah, it's either the red herring in the first act, or it isn't the red herring in the first act. It's the second one. or it's some supernatural force, or it's a complete misdirection. You get to the end. Your example of the first one is where they reveal the first killer from the opening scene is Friday the 13th, or the first one, or it's actually no, Friday the 13th, the first one. No, I'm thinking of Halloween. The first one. Friday the 13th, the first one, that's the supernatural element. Because at the end it reveals that it was the mother. Now that's slightly different. It's the third or supernatural element. A red herring thing. That's the third one. The part 2. The supernatural element would be for Nightmare on Elm Street. The supernatural element is entirely in the dream. He comes into dreams and kills you. It's entirely supernatural element. Killer. Knives Out is an example of the fourth one. You have no idea who the bad guy is. Come to the very end and you're like, what? Okay, yeah, that's the fourth one. They just pulled that out of a hat and said, Fight Club. You have no idea what's going on. You get to the end. Inception you do. Inception is one. This is number one. The guy doing the thing is the guy that actually did it at the end. In Inception. You know what's going on. So you're clued in immediately. This particular story, you're clued in immediately, but they try to throw all these red herrings out. Throw these other bad guys out there to fight Batman or whatever. It's like, no, it's still the one you're thinking. And then you get to the end and it's like, yeah, it's the one you're thinking. It's not that hard to figure out. Supernatural event, mystery, the Endgame, Avengers Endgame 1 and 2. However, Star Trek Voyager's Endgame, the mystery there was revealed in the opening scene when Future Janeway uses technology to go back and help herself in the past. That's an example of that. Superman 2. The crooks are inside the supernatural element, drops down and attacks them. And that also goes with a relation that attacks them. That goes with that one. There's degrees of the spy thriller. Jason Bourne, you know from the opening scene what's going on. He's a spy. La Femme Nikita, you know what's going on from the beginning. Stuff like that. Let's see. Yeah, so there's different spy things, I guess. A misdirection, excellent one where you have no idea how it ends, which is why it's a classic. The original Murder on the Orient Express. The original Agatha Christie story and story movie. You have no clue. And when you get to the end, you're like, oh, it was this bunch of people on the train that did it. And that one, and it's like, how? You're like, what? It was like one of those. That was not the case with this Batman movie. That was not the case with this one. You really do know who the bad guy is. They're just throwing out red herrings here and there. A red herring is a character that's thrown out into a story to throw it off. Often the case on the Scooby-Doo cartoon. They would do a misdirection. Almost always the supernatural thing would turn out to be the old landowner guy from the first act. Almost every time. And when... Yeah. So... Same thing with the Dukes of Hazzard. The Dukes of Hazzard was a comedy action series. But even with that one, they were all... Pretty much Boss Hogg would do something that you knew he did it. And try to get the farm or whatever. And it's like, yeah, we know what he's up to. We know what he's trying to do. It's just how's he going to do it? How's he going to get from point A to point B? Yeah. We know what he's up to. We just don't know what it is that he's up to. Is he going to steal gold, or is he going to fake it, or what? Anyway, that's my review.